The electric poles powered by solar energy no longer works, throwing the stretch into abject darkness. The Waste Management and Sanitation Company has set its team in motion for maintenance of some public squares in Cotonou. Hello and good day to tune into Golfe TV AFRICA. I'm Metohuey ADOGLO. Welcome to the Monday's 1 p.m. English News Edition. Coming to you live from our studios here in Cotonou City. As usual, we kick off the edition with stories coming from the local territory. Now, so the end of the year's festive period generally rhymes with liquidation of products of all kinds in Cotonou. In the largest market in Benin, this is the case, and the whole population is looking forward to this moment in order to make good deals. However, the conditions of sales are not always good for the sellers and the traders of Dantokwa market. We have the report.
In December at the Dantokwa market, it is a price festival for all kinds of articles. In order to increase their turnover, the big shops take advantage of this to empty themselves of the year's unsold goods, which they dump on the market and to promote new products. The end of the year festive period is therefore favorable for the sale of clothing, decorative products, foodstuffs, and other items.
Bon, les produits ne sont pas prohibés puisque si tu regardes dans les
It's not that the products are prohibited, but on the bottle on some of the perishable products. Getting closer to the end of the year, the expiry date sometimes counts down to 2 to 3 months of its expiry. When you look at the bottle, you'd see it's just 2 months till its expiry date. So sometimes it's the product's lifespan that dictates the price.
Disons, c'est presque en date de péremption, presque. C'est presque en date de péremption. Nous avons nos bails liquidés. Il dit bon livrer magasin.
Ils font des liquidations généralement pour vider les magasins afin de faire de nouveaux stocks.
They do the liquidation usually to empty the shop in order to make new stocks of products, or when they realize that the products have not really interested potential customers because of their high cost or quality. So they lower the prices to sell them during the holiday season. Often this is also to avoid losses because the expiry dates are close. In this period, customers go out a lot because of liquidations, because parents have to dress their children, give them toys and good holiday meals. So we do more business than during the year. So even though we complain about the economic gloom, in December we manage to do good business and make our children happy in turn.
Nous arrivons à faire de bonnes affaires et faisons plaisir à nos enfants à notre tour.
Dantokwa is full of people in December. The crowds grow as the day and months goes by. In addition to the customers, the vendors number in thousands and have no shortages of strategies for promoting their products. But in this other known to this market in this period, the resellers plead for the competent authorities to facilitate their life.
C'est vraiment difficile.
It is really difficult. Normally, the authorities should give us this month to sell our items for the festival. We bought products last year that we could not sell completely. So this year, let them allow us to do our business in peace and serenity. They allowed us to sell last year. Let it be so again this year. We beg them.
Il y a les policiers qui sont en train de nous disperser. Mais dans le même temps, il y a la Sogema qui distribue les tickets. Pour ces bonnes dames, vous voyez toutes ces bonnes dames qui sont debout là.
There are police officers that disrupt our sales. And sometimes, the market manager is selling tickets for space. For those women out here in the market, they have no choice but to get those tickets. From next year, without the tickets, it will be impossible to get a move on sales in this market. And ticket or not, the police sometimes appear and disrupt our market. I see this as a huge injustice. Because if you're going to disrupt our market sales, why are the market managers selling tickets? It is complete injustice. Last year, they stopped us from selling here, but they gave us a space not so far off. And when the police seizes your goods, you got to pay up at the police station before your goods are released. Not everyone has the kind of money to open a private stand. Stands are quite expensive. especially at Tokba. We wouldn't have a lot of stands that need to sell, quite a lot. There are a lot of us here in the market.
Suffisamment cher à Tokba. Donc ceux qui sont des revendeurs là, ils sont trop. Les revendeurs sont trop. Ceux qui n'ont pas de place là, c'est beaucoup. Donc ils n'ont qu'à essayer de nous comprendre.
The holiday season is a time of good business for traders, retailers, and consumers alike. Therefore, it is important that the final recipients of these products pay attention, especially to the basic necessities, as they are often out of date or of doubtful quality.
The Waste Management and Sanitation Company has set its teams in motion for the maintenance of some public squares in the Cotonou. This is now a priority task involving agents of the company. Charles Lebon explains the reasons for the sanitation campaign and the challenges it faces.
On est là pour la journée de salubrité. Dans le mois, le dernier samedi du mois, on prend pour la journée de salubrité dans chaque zone. Alors on est dans le lot de à partir du feu Marina, donc la zone du Golfe.
We are here for the Sanitation Day. The last Saturday of each month is dedicated to this day in each area. So today we take care of the area of the Crossroads Marina. Several of my colleagues are in other areas still in the city of Cotonou. But in normal circumstances, we work on Sundays, Tuesdays and Thursdays evening. So we work 3 times a week, and we also rest some days of the week. For our own health, we have to take pig milk. We also need to change our clothes and have more equipment to protect ourselves.
Mais en temps normal, il nous faut chaque fois des gants qu'on doit nous. On est exposé à la poussière, il y a des maladies, des gants, nos habits aussi doivent être changés chaque fin du mois ou bien bon, chaque 3 mois. Pour ne pas être infecté par les maladies. Par exemple, moi,
To be honest, everything has to be renewed constantly, especially our clothes, because we are exposed to a lot of dust and dirt. Our managers should be more proactive. It is true that in the past, they came to make a report on our working conditions, but since then, we have not had any follow-up. They promised to help us and our children, but until now, nothing. However, we would like to thank them for everything they do. It is not an easy task.
Ils ont promis nous aider aussi nos enfants, et avec les moyens qu'on a, mais actuellement, on ne les a pas encore vus. Nous les remercions infiniment pour les efforts. D'abord, nous aider pour les matériaux, bon, les gants, les casques, les outils.
We also have a lot of problems. I just want to mention again the working equipment that has to be changed all the time to keep us in good health. The salaries have to be paid on time. We don't have to wait until the 15th or 20th to be paid, because we have to pay our rent on time and take care of our families as well. Every 2 weeks we have new brooms in order to better do our work.
Ça dépasse, mais à chaque 2 semaines on change des balais pour permettre de bien balayer, de bien traiter les rues aussi. Les balais brosses, comme les balais debout, pour avantager, pour bien travailler.
The Ekpe electric poles powered by solar energy no longer work, throwing the stretch into abject darkness, unnerving commuters and the residents of the area. The solar recharge electrification project was implemented in February 2016 to light this road. The lighting was supposed to bring the stretch out of darkness and out of insecurity, with the corollary of nighttime accidents, robberies of all kinds, and the opening up of the area towards development.
On the main access road to Ekpe, only the headlights of cars and machines light up users, despite the electric poles that line the stretch. This situation is not new, notwithstanding the rural electrification projects using solar energy, which has taken into account this part of the commune of Semekpoji. Driving at night in this road is unnerving. The solar street lamps installed no longer works, which, on the other hand, frightens users who fear insecurity.
All right, we do apologize for that little bit of technical difficulty in that story. We'll get that to you as soon as it's ready. Now, according to the World Bank statistics, 1 billion people, or 15% of the world's population, have a disability. These people are in the worrying situation in our society, which still finds it difficult to accept them. Now, this is why the theme of this International Day of Persons with Disability is Solutions for Inclusive Development. We have a report.
It is defined as the limitation of the possibilities of interaction of an individual or her environment, leading to psychological, intellectual, social or physical difficulties. According to the World Bank statistics, 1 billion people, or 15% of the world's populations, have a disability. These people are in a worrying situation in our society, which still finds it difficult to accept them. This is why the theme of this International Day of Persons with Disability is Solutions for Inclusive Development, the role of innovation for an accessible and equitable world. Marcel Himvi is a communication officer of the umbrella organization representing Disabled People's Organization in the Republic of Benin in the Littoral Department. He focuses on the objectives of this day. Founder, director of an NGO working on the cause of people living with disabilities, and a psychologist by training for years, Claudine Diazo explains what she expects from each link in society in order to make the daily life of these people less perilous. For quality support for people with disabilities, local authorities are very often indexed. They are making an effort. According to Leon Wotso-Soglo, in charge of child protection at Cotonou City Hall, each person is important for society and has rights that the leaders must work to guarantee.
Some areas of Kandy have been without water and electricity for several years. A very unpleasant situation that the population of Babwa district live with on a daily basis. In particular, insecurity and the long distances they have to go before they can have access to water, which is not always drinkable. This report has more.
This is the Babwa district in the city of Kandy, a place that seems peaceful, far from the noise and pollution of big cities. However, the reality is not so bright. The people have no access to water or electricity.
Sincèrement, concernant l'eau et l'électricité, nous avons ce problème depuis que moi je suis né. On a ce problème-là.
The shortage of water and electricity have been a reality in this district since I was a kid. Regarding the water issue, it is far more serious than it seems, because even if we dig a 15-meter long pit, we will still not get any water. We need a borehole. However, it is a costly process. There is no electric pole around here either, which resulted in the energy crisis we experience here.
Il y a seulement des raccordements et sur des raccordements, ce qui cause plusieurs problèmes en ce qui concerne l'électricité et ça.
Having access to water is almost an impossible task, as access to the valuable resource is very limited.
Les femmes cherchent de l'eau dans des puits et des cours d'eau. Nous avons un cours d'eau qu'on appelle Goussumbuya.
Our women have to go far to seek water in rivers and streams. They usually go to a stream named Goussumbuya. Once they fetch the water, they have to add the tap into it to make it drinkable. The problem is really deep, to the extent that even to wash your clothes, you need to go out to buy water.
Pour payer à 25 francs, si ça finit là, 50 francs maintenant. Si ça finit là, c'est des problèmes.
The lack of road facilities is also a major drawback to the development of Baobab.
Aussi l'infrastructure, on n'a pas de l'électricité.
We do not have energy, mainly because there is no electric pole. The government really should do something for us.
L'énergie. On demande au gouvernement de nous aider, de nous donner coup de main.
When night falls, the Baobab district becomes the favorite playground of criminals and other delinquents who enjoy the darkness to commit their petty crimes.
À partir de 20h déjà, si on dit quartier Baobab, on dit non, parce que si tu vas là, on
From
peut...
8 p.m., nobody wants to go to Baobab because you are likely to be robbed. You will be robbed with anything, even with sticks, because the whole area is dark. And as you don't know exactly what they have against you, you can't really take the risk to defend yourself. So by 8 p.m., we are already indoors.
Avec quoi ils sont en train de te braquer. On est obligé à 20h déjà de rentrer dans nos maisons et enfermer les enfants.
The inhabitants of this locality seek the assistance of the authorities.
Sincèrement, nous demandons aux ministres concernés.
The authorities, such as the minister in charge of mine and water, must help us, and this is a recurrent situation.
Prendre part de Kandy et les autres communes qui sont proches de Kandy parce que c'est un problème que nous vivons chaque jour.
Donc, ils n'ont qu'à penser à nous Parce qu'il y a des enfants.
We need their help. There is no road, there is no electricity, there is no water. Sometimes our children cannot have a decent shower in 2 days.
Ce serait 2 jours, d'autres enfants ne trouvent pas l'eau à se laver.
When will the inhabitants of the Baobab district in the commune of Kandy have access to drinking water and electricity? Only time will tell.
Well, hello, good day to all tuned into Golfe TV Africa. Welcome to the African newspaper review on Golfe TV Africa. Now, we'll be talking more about the World Cup, as the World Cup is at its peak. We are getting to the quarterfinals. So this is a sports review on Golfe TV Africa. Now, let's get to it. We have a couple of interesting, exciting stories, and of course, everybody knows what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the last African nation currently in the Qatar 2022 World Cup. And the front page of the paper says, oh, yes. Now, this is a story to talk about. Only 4 African teams have ever made it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. We had Senegal, they made it to the World Cup in 2002. We had Cameroon, that made it in 1990. We had Ghana, that made it in 2010. And now we have this champions, Morocco, making it to the World Cup final. I think they're still used to. Right there, all celebrating as they became the 4th African side to make it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. And Africa is absolutely buzzing right now. Now let's take a look at some of the headlines that shot up to the top story. We say keeper Yassine Bonu saved 2 sports kick as Morocco stunned Spain to reach first ever quarterfinals. North African set up crunch Portugal clash for semi-final sports. Its first African appearance by an African side in 12 years. Now this is quite exciting. Now Morocco get to play Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal. Let's see how that would end. Does this give Portugal a leap into the semi-finals, or does this give Morocco a leap into the semi-finals? Either way, this is going to be an exciting, absolutely exciting clash in the quarterfinals. Also, page 4, we'll get back to Morocco because, you know, that is where the story is right now. Let's talk about page 4. Page 4 reveals title praises Neymar's technical abilities. Enrique, that's on page 4. Also, Enrique considers Spain's future, thinking is he the right person to lead the Spanish side into the next World Cup, all the competitions, the Nations League, the European League. Also, France breakdown champions can break the champions' course. For a very long time, no team has been able to defend their World Cup. I think the last team to have done that was Brazil, and that was very long ago. Also on page 2, coach blames medics over dead boxers. We're having dead boxers in Nigeria. Now, this story is actually coming in from Nigeria, and this has to do with the kind of drugs that boxers take in jest to keep up their physique and keep up their training physiques as well. Also on page 4, we have right there, Southgate challenges England to make history and making it another semi-final appearance in the World Cup. That would be lovely to see. But they have one Kylian Mbappe in their way. And not just Kylian Mbappe, the French side is star-studded. There's Dembele, there's Tchouameni. They have so much players that can live up to the expectation. If Mbappe doesn't turn up on the night, Giroud might come up with some interesting goal to score because he always has them up his sleeves. Now, looking at that, let's look at the top side of the story to see some more stories on the sports review before we get into the technicality and the statistics that we always bring to you. Also, Ramos' hat-trick as Portuguese pummel the sweet side to reach the last 8. That was an exciting match here. Cristiano Ronaldo, all the boss was talking about Cristiano starting off from the bench. But yeah, they say no Cristiano Ronaldo, no problem, because Ramos can get a hat-trick in his first start for the Portuguese side in a knockout state. It was beautiful. He is a poacher. He's the ideal poacher. I think he's going to start the game versus Morocco. Let's see how that goes. But the Portuguese side are looking quite anxious, looking to make a mark on the World Cup. Finally, they have never won the World Cup. Now let's take a look at some of the pending, some of the trending stories around the world as we get into the nitty-gritty of actions around the world. Now let's take a look at some of the statistics. I tell you, stats is going to go wild and fast right now. Now let's look at some of the games that was played last night. The games played last night were very simple. We had Portugal playing Switzerland, beating that game 6-1. We have that right there. We also have Morocco beating the Spanish side on penalties. We have that right there. Now, what does this mean for the table? This is what it means. It means now that, let's take a look at that. It means now that Netherlands will be playing Argentina on Friday, 8 o'clock. Also, Croatia will be playing Brazil on Friday, 4 p.m. Let's look at that. Also, it means France versus England Saturday by 8 p.m. as well. Saturday, 8 p.m. the match to watch. Also, Morocco versus Portugal Saturday, 4 p.m. This is the round of 16. This is where we've gotten to. The round of 16, Portugal, Morocco, France, England, Brazil, Croatia, Netherlands, Argentina. These are our last 6 teams, the last 8 teams in the quarterfinals of the competition. Now let's take a look at the stats and see if the stats change. All the stats didn't change all too well. Morata is out of the equation. Morata is out of the equation because Saka is still in. Karo Kukibaku is still in, out of the equation. And all of a sudden, we have a new boy on the list, just like that. Gonzalo Ramos has made it to the top of the list. He is now on 3 goals, equal with Messi in just 1 game, getting a hat-trick in that match. Also, we have Retrouvez and Giroud, Marcus Rashford, and Messi, also players that are capable to add up to the top. Let's look at the assist list. Looking at the assist list, it's changing a little bit. Bruno Fernandes now on 3 assists. Bruno Fernandes of Portugal on 3 assists, and that figure will definitely increase as time goes. Definitely on the assists. Harry Kane as well, and Andrew Vicha of Serbia out. Christian Pulisic out. The rest of the players out, but David Carson is still in it. So we have our favorites, Bruno Fernandes and Harry Kane, top on it. But if you ask me, I think Bruno Fernandes is going to take home the assists later of the tournament. Now let's see how that goes. This is what we have on the statistics. This is what we have in the classroom. Let's see if there's any other top news about the stories. There are some of the top stories coming in right now, talking about Cristiano Ronaldo leaving on time, not celebrating the way he was expected to celebrate, with his colleagues making it to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Also on the story, some of the other stories coming in has to be about Morocco. Morocco making history yesterday, getting to the quarterfinals. That was quite exciting. So yeah, these are some of the top stories. Also, there was a story on Eto'o having a problem kneeing a fan at the World Cup. He did set out an apology that doesn't seem completely like an apology, but he did set out something to talk about that particular stuff. Also, this is all the interesting stories we have currently on the World Cup. Let's take a look at some of the trending topics on Twitter and see what people were saying about the World Cup. Now, this is it, talking about I'm absolutely loving being here and representing my country with a group of lads that I like. They are like my brothers. This is what Jack Grealish has come out to say. Happy for his brothers, happy to be part of the team, happy to be part of the team that is making it to the quarterfinals, hoping to get to the semifinals and ultimately the finals. Let's see some other trending stories. Other trending stories looking at old pictures of Jack Grealish. Moving on from that, the coaches of the tournament, we have Deschamps, we have Louis van Gaal, we have the guy from Morocco, Wally Ragui, all coaches that are ready to make their mark in the World Cup. Lionel Scaloni also there. See some of the other trending stories, Louis van Gaal talking. Some of the trending pictures, ecstatic sights yesterday as Morocco made it to the quarterfinals. Look at people happy. This is how Morocco fans celebrated their historic win of the World Cup over Spain. What a night, what a night. This was the game. This was losing 3 penalties, not even getting 1 penalty. It was quite shocking for the side. Also looking at, now it's hard not to look at the stats. Now looking at the stats, these are the stats that we put in Cristiano Ronaldo's face. He cannot hide from them. Because now they're talking about goals in the World Cup knockout. We have Gonzalo Ramos with 3 goals and Cristiano Ronaldo with 0 goals. Now these are the stats that Cristiano will wake up to and would not be happy to read at all. Now look at it. It feels like Cristiano has just become a target. I don't know what's happening. Why is everything about Cristiano Ronaldo? I'm sure he's tired of it. Now also Fernandez come out to say, I don't think Cristiano will be happy if the manager put me on the bench in the next game. I will be angry, Bruno Fernandez, on Cristiano Ronaldo being benched. He's come out to say that. That's verified. Also still on trending stories. Oh my, we just lost that right there. Well, this is all we have for you on the trending stories. We should move on back to this is still the Golf Sports Review. I'm Metohuey ADOGLO. I'm excited for Morocco and for the African side. As the story develops in the World Cup, we'll bring more stories to you. But right now, here's where I say my goodbye, and I'll see you same time tomorrow. Do not forget to dial in. Well, hello and good day to all tuning into Golfe TV Africa. I'm Metohuey ADOGLO and welcome to the African Newspaper Review. We'll be touching on papers across the African continent. First off, as usual, we begin our papers collections of narration analysis with papers coming in from Nigeria, as we touch on the Punch Nigeria. Now, here's the front page of the Punch Nigeria. The front page of the Punch Nigeria reveals customer companies panic. Now, this is the new Naira. Let's just change the color right there. So, talking about the new Naira notes, or the new Naira notes, customers companies panic as CBN slashes withdrawal lines limits. We have that on page 2 of the Punch Nigeria. Also, it goes on to say over-the-counter weekend withdrawals of 100,000 Naira for individuals, 500,000 for firms, and POS terminal operators plan nationwide protests, say policy will kill businesses around the country. Now, practical situation on the ground doesn't support this policy. SMEs, bank customers have revealed to say that. They are very unhappy about that. Now, you should know that the Naira was, the CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, asked for all Naira to be brought back into banks so that the CBN would now exchange and give the new bills to try and regulate the currency and the country, the movement of currency, the flow of currency around the nation. Now, they have come out to also put a limit on the amount of withdrawals. Now, in Nigeria, there's practice a lot of digital currency. You can move money, you can buy stuff, all digitally. You don't need to withdraw. Now, they're trying to have and stop people from keeping stockpile of hard cash at home, and this is why. One of the reasons why this policy was adopted. Now, they're putting a limit on cash withdrawals in the country. Now, this is not new. This is not new to a lot of developed nations. Nations like the United Kingdom, there are always limits of hard cash that you have on you. They advise and say people should spend money using their MasterCards or their cards, whatever other ways to use your digital money instead of using hard cash. Now, moving on from that, let's take a look at the bottom of the paper as we continue on the review. Now, let's tell you, soldiers with fibroid tortured for attempting to resign. We have that on page 4 and 5 of the Punch Nigeria. Also, federal government sets up panel to probe all theft. We have that on page 22. Also, Lagos OK's hijab for schools. PFN preaches for peace. We have that on page 6 of the Punch Nigeria. Now moving on from the, we head now to the top of the paper to have more interest, because we have a lot more stories right there. A lot of interesting stories coming from there. Let's say diaspora Nigerians sue INEC over poll. Why? You can get that on page 13 of the Punch Nigeria. Also, train attack victims demand federal government compensation. This is merited on page 2. As well on page 31, it says queues grow as ex-depot price hits 235 naira per litre. This amid the current inflation, hyperinflation being experienced by the nation. Now, Nigeria and others facing huge debt crisis, says the World Bank. We have that on page 31. Nigeria is no exception from the current inflation around the world. Now, let's move on from that. We told you on all the papers as we still bringing in papers coming in from Nigeria. We head now to the nation, Nigeria. Another interesting paper, hoping it gives a different perspective on some of the topics the Punch has just touched right now. So now the nation Nigeria, let's first get rid of the Punch. The nation Nigeria reveals. Front page of the nation Nigeria says, Tinubu, I'm candidate to beat. I'm the candidate to beat. That's why attacks are coming. Now, ex-governor speaks on records, wealth, economy, campaign council, defense, Chatham House outfit. We have all that right there as the elections campaign kicks in. So campaign is boiling because come February, Nigerians will have to decide who is going to be the next president of the country. Tinubu believing he's been attacked because he is the candidate to beat. He is everyone's threat, everyone's rival. I guess Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar will have other stuff to say about that. Now, Buhari reappoints 2 CBN deputy governors, HOS for Oshun. We have that on page 7. On page 7, we have it on page 7, and on page 6 of the Punch of the nation Nigeria. Now, looking at the top half of the paper, we have some exciting stories right there. It says, Sultan can unbeat peaceful 2020 elections. We have this right there on page 2 of the nation. Also, federal government seeks United Nations funding for 2023 poll census. We have there on page 2. Also, Eric Bosola, men seek return to APC dissolved group. We have that on page 6. And also, Morocco rolls into World Cup quarterfinals. This is another exciting story that every African on the continent is super, not even worldwide, are super buzzing about. Everyone happy for Morocco. The last heroes, the last Africans in the competition, and the fourth only other African team to have ever made it to the quarter-finals of this global showpiece called the World Cup. Now, moving on from that, we move on from the nation Nigeria and head now to the Daily Guide Ghana. Front page of the Daily Guide Ghana reveals NDC broke. Mama begs for Momo. We have that there on page 3 of the Guide Ghana, with, of course, the ex-president right there. Also, Development Bank in Ghana grabs SSIC certification. We have that on page 9. Bitcoin will power Africa. Dorsey has come out to say. Former CEO of Twitter has come out to say he believes Bitcoin will power Africa. Why? You can get that more on page 6 of the Daily Guide Ghana. Also, Parliament approves 2023 budget. We have that on page 3. And Ghana budget also is quite super expensive due to the amount of ministries it has working in the country. A lot of Ghanaians are actually very happy with the amount of industries and ministries they have in the country, saying it's pulling out a lot of cash, sucking their cash dry. Now we head now to the Star from Kenya and see what it offers. Star from Kenya reveals boarding schools to be abolished from next year. Why? That is such a story to cover. We have that on page 8 of the Star from Kenya. Also, litmus test for Raila as anti-Hutu rallies begin. We have that on page 6 of the Star from Kenya. His rival refusing to back down, and protest still ongoing despite being sworn in as president of Kenya. I mean, where does it mean? He has not still come to terms with the fact that he has lost the elections. He still wants it back. He still believes he was cheated. So let's see how that develops. Now, baby Travis war victim of parents' fines. We have that there on KHN on page 4 and 5 of the Star Kenya. Wadri parents over birthdays to marry off teen daughters. Now they are changing the birthdays of their daughters so they can marry off their teen daughters. That is quite disastrous. We have that on page 10 of the Star from Kenya. Now, you should know child marriage is illegal. Parents should not, put out their kids out for marriage, you never know what happens. Let your kid develop, and it's the choice to make, not your choice to make. It is completely illegal, and it is a catastrophe, honestly. All right, moving on from that, we head now to the next paper of the edition as we touch on some more papers. We will be touching on the daily news. Got the daily news from Egypt. As soon as we're done with this paper being stubborn. All right, now we have the daily news from Egypt. The front page of the daily news from Egypt reveals the Egypt's Automotive Summit 7th edition reviews national strategy to develop auto industry. They tell you LCC is working a lot, doing a lot to try and improve the develop his city as Egypt as much as possible. Egypt is on the right track right now in terms of development. Also, so with a lot of other major African countries. Also looking at that, let's say Fortescue Future Industry plans to start producing green hydrogen in Egypt in the early 2027. Also, Health Ministry inaugurates 74th International Conference of the Egyptian Orthopedic Society. We have that there as well on page 3, which is quite exciting as well. Also, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq's foreign ministers meet in Marmot to enhance cooperation within the framework of trilateral cooperation. We have the foreign ministers all sat there discussing. It's always good to negotiate. It's always good to have relationships with external countries, and that fusion brings about something new, revolutionary, and it is quite needed in our society, in our world of today, because the world is just one little digital village. We need to cooperate with our neighbors to get the best result of our region. All right, let's move in from that. Let's tell you now, Environment Minister Chaginsan Ambassador discussed bilateral cooperation. Still talking about inter-African, inter-regional cooperation is very important. Now, also, Fiscal Futures Industry plans to start producing green hydrogen by Egypt in 2027. All right, we have that on page 2, page 3 of the daily news from Egypt. Moving on from that, let's just take that up there. We now head to the New Vision Uganda. The front page of the New Vision Uganda reveals some top stories. Of course, you know the World Cup is heated, and of course that's why we have that particular picture dedicated to the Atlas Lions of Morocco. So, the front page reveals demand for student loans surpasses available funds. Now, I did say Uganda has seemed to be prioritizing a lot of education. When you look at the New Vision Uganda, there's always subjects about education, about the government trying to do this or that to try and improve education in the country. Now, you can get this on page 3, 6, and 7. Now, student loan scheme list out. Now, apparently, they have more appeal for loans than the amount currently disposable for the loans. Now, Museveni assures investors and speaks on economy at his US trip. You can get that more about that on page 4 of the New Vision Uganda. Moving on from the right-hand side of the paper, they say U.S. wants Rwanda and DR Congo. Now, this has to be about their relationship. They have fallen into bad times of late, with DR Congo accusing Rwanda of major sovereignty disruptions in their region, accusing them of attacking or paying rebels who attack in the DRC, which is quite very tragic. Also, teenage pregnancies, Norway gives 16 billion shillings. We have that there on page 19 of the New Vision Uganda. Well, this is all we have for you for the African newspaper review of Golfe TV Africa. I am Metohuey ADOGLO, and as well, this is where I say my goodbye. So goodbye, I'll see you same time tomorrow, and ciao for now. Well, there we have it for the African newspaper review on Golfe TV Africa for the 1 p.m. English news. Now let's take a quick look at some of the other stories that are still developing around the local territory. Now let's take the degraded road of Godoma Interchange overhead bridge has been causing commuters a lot of problems for some time now. It has been in a state of which has been labeled as ridiculous as it is ravaged by potholes. But still, commuters are obliged to use this road as it is one of the important bridges in the region, connecting multiple districts of the region. Also, the Beninese welcomed the electoral process underway in Benin Republic for the 2023 legislative elections. 7 political parties out of 8, including those of the opposition, are officially in the running for this election, which is intended to be inclusive, peaceful, free, and credible. For them, it is an important step in the appeasement of the political life and by ricochet the vitality of democracy. That we had for you, and so we conclude Wednesday's edition of the 1 p.m. English News live from our studios here in Cotonou City. Coming up next is the French newsroom. Now, for more information around the world, you stay tuned to Golfe TV Africa, and whatever thoughts you'd like to share relating to our programs, you can reach our social media handles as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also reach us on YouTube, stream our content on YouTube. You can get that on Golfe International on YouTube, and to get our reportages, the fragmented reportages, you can get that on the Golfe Medias on YouTube. So yeah, copy, share with your friends, let them know what we do in here and how it is important to we cover proximities. It's all about proximity, covering all local stories around the country. I'm Metohuey ADOGLO. I'll see you same time tomorrow and later today on Focal Points. But goodbye for now.
Conférences, colloques, séminaires, formations, déclarations, forums et autres activités intellectuelles et d'éveil, le groupe de presse, la Gazette du Golfe, lance officiellement sa salle de conférence multimédia. Un joyau ultra-moderne de 250 places, hautement équipé de matériel de dernière génération. La salle de conférence multimédia du groupe de presse, la Gazette du Golfe, vous offre la possibilité des visioconférences, les retransmissions en direct simultanément sur toutes les chaînes de radio et télévision et sur l'ensemble des réseaux sociaux de par le monde. Un appel ici à tous nos meilleurs intellectuels et autres expérimentés des questions de la vie. Défenseurs et chantres du panafricanisme les plus acharnés. Amis de l'Afrique, vous qui œuvrez inlassablement à la reconquête de la souveraineté du continent, vous qui brûlez de transmettre à la jeune génération la flamme de ne plus se laisser dominer, opprimer comme nos parents l'ont été, l'occasion de cette salle de conférence multimédia vous est gratuitement offerte. Offerte pour partager et transmettre les savoirs et éveiller les consciences. Et ce n'est pas tout. Vous pouvez aussi louer cette salle de conférence multimédia et bénéficier d'office d'une annonce avant l'événement sur nos médias, d'une couverture médiatique gratuite sur Golfe TV AFRICA, Golfe FM Africa et sur l'ensemble de nos réseaux sociaux. Vous bénéficierez aussi à souhait d'une retransmission en direct, partielle ou intégrale de votre événement. Un parking d'environ 800 mètres carrés vous est aussi disponible pour la sécurité de vos moyens roulants. Attention, cette salle de conférence multimédia située dans l'enceinte du groupe de presse La Gazette du Golfe n'est pas destinée aux activités de loisirs et autres réjouissances. Pour tout renseignement pour la location, appelez les 95 24 30 00, 95 24 30 01 et 95 24 30 02.
Usagers du service public, pour toutes vos plaintes et dénonciations relatives aux actes de corruption et de mauvaise gouvernance, rendez-vous sur le site www.dénonciation.bj ou appelez gratuitement le 155 pour soumettre en toute confidentialité vos préoccupations. Que ce soit pour la sollicitation et l'acceptation de pots de vin, l'abus de confiance ou l'escroquerie, le manquement de fonctionnaire dans l'exécution d'actes judiciaires ou de toute autre nature, la fraude en matière douanière, déversement de marchandises déclarées en transit, minoration de la valeur en douane, la fraude en matière fiscale, l'utilisation abusive ou à des fins personnelles de biens publics, la non-transparence dans les actes de gestion de l'administration publique, etc. La cellule de traitement des plaintes et dénonciations est à votre écoute. Tous ensemble, œuvrons pour la consolidation de la bonne gouvernance au Bénin.
Attention, attention, la Covid-19 continue de sévir. Pour vous protéger et protéger les autres, vaccinez-vous. Vous êtes âgé de 18 ans et plus, vous pouvez recevoir les doses des vaccins contre la Covid-19. Vous avez 12 ans et plus, le vaccin Pfizer peut vous être administré. Alors faites le geste qui sauve. Rendez-vous dans les postes de vaccination implantés dans les formations sanitaires de votre arrondissement et de votre commune ou appelez le 136 pour tout renseignement. Les vaccins contre la Covid-19 sont sûrs, efficaces et gratuits. Pour tout savoir sur l'épidémie de coronavirus au Bénin, rendez-vous sur le site web www.gouv.bj/coronavirus. Ceci est un message du gouvernement de la République du Bénin.
Nous parlerons dans cette émission du décès de